Court decision concerning race in college admissions. It's our first story today on CNN Student News. We're happy to have you watching. Back in 2006, 58% of voters in the state of Michigan decided that race should not factor into college admissions, that public colleges can't give preferential treatment to people based on race, gender, or where they're from. But last year, a lower court struck down the law, saying it violates the U.S. Constitution's guarantees of equal protection. Well, this went to the Supreme Court, the final legal authority in the U.S. It ruled 6-2 that the lower court did not have the right to overturn Michigan's law. So it wasn't a decision directly about affirmative action, but about who has the power to resolve the controversy. Because of the ruling, Michigan's law against preferential treatment can stay in place. Yesterday, the High Court also heard a case involving Aereo. It's a company that allows subscribers to watch and record TV channels without having to get cable, which is more expensive. Aereo has thousands of TV antennas. They capture the free over-the-air signals of TV stations, connect them to a DVR, and then allow subscribers to watch them from a mobile device.
Now it's time for the 9 justices of the Supreme Court to rule on whether Aereo is legal or not. On Tuesday, the justices heard oral arguments in this case, which has been bubbling up for 2 years, ever since Aereo came onto the market in New York City, offering customers a new way to watch over-the-airwaves television stations via the internet. Aereo charges $8 a month, and it disrupts the existing ecosystem for television in the United States, because stations, like the local stations in New York City, have gotten used to receiving retransmission fees from cable and satellite companies that want to rebroadcast their content. Well, Aereo works around that system. It has its own array of tiny antennas that allow customers to watch TV without having to pay for cable or satellite, and thus without having to pay for those retransmission fees. All of the broadcasters say this is a blatant copyright violation. And here on Tuesday, we heard a vigorous debate about what Aereo really is. The broadcasters say it's a gimmick that should be essentially ruled to be illegal and made extinct. Aereo says this is not about copyright at all. They say what they're doing is perfectly legal because of the way they've set up their array of antennas. Here in court, Aereo's attorney argued they are just an equipment supplier. They just provide the same kind of technology that you could buy at Radio Shack, but then they hook it up on the internet so you can watch it from anywhere. The broadcaster's attorney, on the other hand, argued that it is much more than that it is really a pirate cable-like system that is stealing their signals without permission and then providing them to customers and charging for it. Most of the questions from the justices revolved around a couple of key points. One is about the idea of public performance. Aereo says what they're doing is a private performance, but the broadcasters say under the copyright law, what Aereo does is a public performance of their copyrighted content. Both sides came out here to the Supreme Court steps after the hearing to speak about what they thought happened.
They're obviously concerned about the consequences, both for the broadcast industry and for other technologies, but I think they also understand that there is a fundamental difference between a service that provides content in the first instance and something that provides essentially a storage service.
We're cautiously optimistic, based on the way the hearing went today, that the court understood that when a person watching over-the-air broadcast television in his or her home is engaging in a private performance and not a public performance that would implicate the Copyright Act.
The justices will rule at some point in the next 2 months, and until then, Aereo will remain in limbo.
Also in the news today, it's been just over a month since a tremendous landslide swept over part of a community in Washington state. As the area was having one of its most rain-soaked months ever, a giant field of land slipped, rushing downhill over homes and roads, killing dozens of people. The search has been incredibly challenging.
Is this the last zone to be searched?
No, it's not the last zone.
The work seems never-ending. It's been 1 month since a mountainside plunged into the town of Oso, Washington. Searcher Ben Woodward took us right into the heart of the slide.
What was here before the landslide?
Houses, sparse houses, trees.
We walked along what was once a highway. The surroundings don't even resemble the community that once flourished here. Yet this is progress.
It was 6 foot underwater, so right where we're standing.
water and mud still creating the biggest challenges for these search crews. We're told water was above my head when that landslide first hit. What they've had to do is create a water channel with pumps to be able to move the water out of this area just to give search crews access to look here.
Special machinery like this floating excavator just arrived to help search for the missing in the obstacle-filled wreckage.
This gives you an idea of what search crews are up against. Logs, mud, piles of debris stacked 20 to 40 feet high in some places.
The slow, sloppy, and dangerous work comes with an emotional toll. So far, at least 41 victims have been recovered in the disaster zone. A Washington spruce tree left standing in the middle of the slide area now serves as a makeshift memorial to honor lives lost.
This is a special place for the searchers that are out here?
Absolutely.
Woodward says it provides a source of strength for the ongoing recovery effort.
It's Worldwide Wednesday on the CNN Student News Roll Call. That means we're going to places like India, where we're glad to be part of the school day at Oberoi International School in Mumbai. We're also online in a 2-room schoolhouse in Manitoba, Canada. Hello to our viewers at the San Antonio School in Bissett. And at the Green Gate School, a British international school in Mexico. It's great to see everyone in the capital, Mexico City. On April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon oil rig exploded in the Gulf of Mexico. 11 workers were killed, and in the months after that, about 210 million gallons of oil leaked from the well underneath the rig. This was the worst oil spill in U.S. history, and the oil company BP has paid out billions to those affected because it was found partly responsible for the disaster. This is what some Gulf Coast beaches looked like in the spring and summer of 2010. Oil sheen covered the surface of the Gulf and clogged the back bays, and cleanup crews outnumbered tourists.
Unless you were here in the middle of it, there's just no way to understand what our community went through.
Orange Beach Mayor Tony Kennan remembers the nightmare, but says in the past 4 years, progress has been made. Kennan says overall he's pleased with how BP has handled the cleanup. But the mayor still doesn't have a lot of admiration for BP.
British Petroleum has done some good things, and we appreciate those, but let's don't get carried away. You know, they're a mindless, faceless, amoral entity whose sole purpose is to make money.
The environmental impacts of the oil spill are still visible and will be for years. Balls of tar continue to wash up in Orange Beach and Gulf Shores on a regular basis, especially after heavy storms. This is video from Gulf Shores, Alabama in February. Tar balls littering the coastline for hundreds of yards. The amount of tar balls that wash on shore varies from location to location and from day to day. For example, a check of several beaches this weekend couldn't find any tar balls. Locals seem to be pleased with BP's restoration efforts.
I think they've done a very good job because you can see that the beaches are beautiful white again. We got a lot of people coming down enjoying it. So I've got no complaints whatsoever.
We probably lost about 200,000.
Countless businesses were impacted by the oil spill. A few folded and closed their doors. Others lost tens of thousands of dollars.
We have had people that have shown up down here that we've talked to that have never been in the area before, and it's because they saw the commercials and things like that. I mean, they've really done a lot for it, but I still, in my opinion, I think they need to do a little more.
The impacts of the oil spill are slowly fading. Life is getting back to normal here. But locals are taking the gone but never forgotten approach when remembering what happened here in 2010. The title of this last video pretty much sums itself up. Dog barking at herself, barking at herself, barking at herself. And it sure does growl on you. This YouTube clip is a doggable. It sure gets her hackles up, and there's no pause in the action. We are not sure what upsets her so much or why she hasn't figured out that it's herself, barking at herself. Whatever the case, something doesn't pass the sniff test. She should probably see a behavioral therapist, maybe even a psychologist. There's got to be some kind of doctor that can help with her analysis, get her barking up the right tree, or determine if she needs rehabilitation. I'm Carl Azus, and we're Snout of Time, but you knows where to find us tomorrow.